It's time for another monthly roundup. Let's talk about my April makes. Hi, my name is Sarah and my channel is knottygnome Crafts. My channel is all about sewing and styling a handmade wardrobe. I have 11 makes to share with you this month, so let's just get started. I'm going to start with tops. The first top that I have to share is the Sew Over It Eve dress that I hacked into a top. This I made in a size 8 with no fit adjustments, and I used a rayon fabric that I got from Style Maker Fabrics. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this particular blouse because I did do a full review on the Sew Over It Eve in my collaboration with Michelle of Michelle Sews Again, so I'm going to link that down in the description box in case you are interested in checking that out. I have not actually worn this top yet. It hasn't been warm enough. Unfortunately, the weather cooled down again and it's been more wintry temperatures. But I'm eager to get this out when the weather finally warms up and try to find ways to style it. I haven't worn a wrap style top in a really long time, so I'm a little bit unsure of how exactly to wear it. In this clip I'm going to show you, I have actually tucked the top into my denim skirt that I got from Madewell. And let me know in the comments if you think that this look works or not. I actually kind of like it, I think, but I just wanted to do a little experiment and see if I liked the way that it looked tucked in. But yeah, I'll have to try a few different things and see how I like to wear this as the weather warms up. Next up is McCalls 7811. This is a button-up shirt and it was part of my April plans. I had purchased 2 yards of a cotton lawn fabric from Spoonflower and it was printed with a beautiful watercolor flower print, and I was eager to get that sewn up, and I decided to enter the Sew April Blouse Challenge, which was hosted by Cloth Edit and Dahlia Society. So that's what I wanted to make that shirt. I ended up choosing just the standard sleeve pattern because I didn't think I had enough fabric to do statement sleeves. I made the size 8 and I shortened the sleeves by 2 inches. Now normally with Big 4, I shorten my long sleeves 3 inches, but I've been noticing lately that although the sleeve length is correct when I hold my arms down, you know, like when you move around and you're like kind of shuffling and your sleeves kind of pull up a little bit, and I was feeling like maybe my sleeves were just a little bit too short for that movement. So I went ahead and shortened the sleeves 2 inches. However, in retrospect, I think that was not quite enough. I think the sleeves are just a little bit too long. So I think the next time I do a Big 4 pattern with long sleeves, I'm going to try to shorten it 2.5 inches and see if that's better. This shirt has princess seams, and I did do a 1-inch small bust adjustment, and I am absolutely thrilled with the fit. I think that it's really nice. This shirt is fairly fitted. It's not like skin tight or anything, but it's a relatively fitted shirt. So I do think that doing the small bust adjustment was really vital in order to get a good fit on this top. And I think that it looks really nice on. It was pretty easy to construct. If I can remember correctly, I think that maybe the collar band, there was something about putting on the collar band that was just a little bit tricky, but I got through it okay. Some people had asked me in the comments about the Spoonflower cotton lawn. In my experience, it's similar in feel. It's sort of silky to the touch. It has a tight weave. It's similar to other cotton lawns that I've worked with, but it is a little bit thicker. So it's not, I don't think it's thick enough to be considered a poplin or anything, but I do think it's heavier than the other lawns that I've worked with. But it's actually really a nice substrate, and I would use it again if Spoonflower ever had a big sale because it is quite expensive. So for this clip, I just wore it untucked so you can see what the full length looks like with my Itch to Stitch Mountain View jeans, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. There's just lots and lots of different ways that I can see myself styling this shirt. The reason I wanted to make this top is because I wanted some more fitted tops that I could wear with some of the wide leg pant styles that I've been making lately, the straight leg and the flare leg and all that. I just think that having a tighter top works better with that sort of silhouette. I wanted to add this one to my wardrobe to see if I liked it, and I do, and so I may end up making more of this particular pattern in the future. Next up, I have the Paper Cut Patterns Stella top. I just showed this fabric and this pattern in my most recent haul, and I was just so excited about it that I wanted to make it up right away. I went ahead and entered this in the Sew April Blouse Challenge as well, and I also entered it in the Sew Maxi for Mother's Day Challenge because the theme was make a statement, and I just feel like this top is a very statement kind of top. So this is a crop top, and it has these really long ties. This just came out of the wash and I haven't steamed it, so it's a little bit wrinkled, so sorry, not sorry. And it's actually reversible, so you can either wear it with this part in the front, or you can wear it with the ties in the front. It has these lovely statement sleeves that are gathered with elastic. I made the size 2, and I actually graded to a size 3 at the waist because that's what fit my body measurements. However, in retrospect, I realize now that grading up at the waist was unnecessary because you wrap the ties around your body, so that's obviously adjustable. So I really didn't need to grade up to the 3, but it didn't hurt anything to do that. The fabric that I used is this rayon or tencel or lyocell, I forget exactly what it is, but it's a rayon. Tie-dye denim that I bought from Joann Fabrics, and I bought 3 yards and I made a top and a skirt. I think I had probably about a half a yard left over out of the 3 yards. So the construction on this top was really interesting. There were some techniques that I never used before. I'm really discovering that I like paper cut patterns because they have really thorough and unique and thoughtful details, and this shirt is no exception. The one thing about this top that does bother me is that the instructions tell you or they don't tell you don't do it, but they don't have you line the ties. So the ties are unlined, you just hem them. And obviously, if you have a fabric like I do where the right and the wrong side look different, it's gonna be hard for that not to show sometimes. So I thought very seriously about cutting 2 ties and lining this, but I didn't do it because the tie piece is really, really long and wide. So first of all, I don't think I had enough fabric to make a second set of ties. And even if I had, I was concerned that if I doubled up the ties, that it would make it really bulky and like too hot and uncomfortable to wear. So I'm a little bit unsure of whether or not that was the right decision. If this fabric had been thinner, like a rayon challis, I definitely would have lined the ties. But as it stands, I didn't. And so it is fairly difficult when wrapping it around and tying it and doing all the things you're trying to do. It's really hard to make it so that the wrong side doesn't show. So I would recommend, if you're gonna make this top, to use a fabric that's either solid or something like a yarn dyed fabric that's the same on both sides, because it will just make your life so much easier. So I'm actually going to show you both clips right now of how to wear the top with the wraps in the front or with them in the back. Now, as I just said, because I had a hard time trying to wrap it without getting the wrong side to show, I think that I do have the wrong side showing, especially when the ties are in the back. I just find it really, really difficult to get everything situated and looking pretty by myself. And I absolutely refuse to have my husband help me because I don't need someone to help me dress myself in the morning. So I actually was not able to do the version where you wrap it in the back and then bring the ties around to the front. I couldn't get that to look not weird by myself. When I put the ties in the back, I ended up just tying it in a bow. And when you do it that way, you can't wear a bra. There's just absolutely no way. I tried a strapless bra, there's just no way you can wear a bra. So for that version, I would probably only wear that when it's like 90 degrees and it's like desperately hot and sticky and you don't want to wear clothes at all. I actually think that top would be really good for those kinds of days because you basically have an open back and the rest of it's pretty light and airy. But otherwise, on normal occasions, I most likely would wear it with the ties wrapped in the front. When I do it that way, I can actually wear just a regular bra with straps and everything, and that works just fine. So let me know in the comments which look is your favorite. Next up, we have the Pattern Emporium Endless Summer Tee. I made this because I am in desperate need of more workout tops. I had done a previous video about an activewear collection that I want to make, and my first on my priority list was the tops because I work out 5 days a week, and until I made this, I only had 4 tops. So I've just been wearing the same ones over and over again, and then one day I would just have to wear a sports bra, so I really wanted to add another top to my wardrobe. So this is made out of a rayon jersey that I got from Joann Fabrics last year, I think, and I only used a yard. And just for the record, this fabric feels pretty nice. I've used this exact same type of fabric for some of my other workout tops, and having worn those tops and washed them quite a lot, they do pill and fade pretty quickly, and so I don't think that this fabric is like super top quality or anything, just FYI. But for a workout top, it's actually pretty nice and it breathes well, and so I do like it for that purpose. For the pattern, I made a size 8, which is my standard size that I make out of Pattern Emporium patterns. I did the cap sleeve, I did the mid scoop neck. I think there's a mid and a low, and I did the mid scoop neck. And I did the short length. I made a mistake when I sewed this pattern on the neckband, and I've done this before with other Pattern Emporium t-shirts. I don't know why I can't get it through my brain that there are notches on the neckband, and the notches are meant to match up with other notches. They are not meant to go with the shoulder seam, but my brain just automatically says it goes with the shoulder seam. And so I matched up the notches with the shoulder seam, which threw off the like proportions of the rest of the neckband. So my neckband's a little bit wavy because it's not matched up correctly. Not gonna lie, I didn't even look at the instructions for this, and that's what happens when you don't look at the instructions. Sometimes you make mistakes. So having put on this neckband, I do think that even with my like screw up, I think that the neckband piece is a little bit too long for this fabric. I probably should have shortened it a little bit because I find that when I wear the top, the neckline is really wide and it wants to fall off my shoulders. And I think if I had shortened the neckband a little bit, it probably wouldn't have done that. For a workout top, it's totally fine, and I'm not gonna care if the neckline looks too wide. But for the future, if I wanna make this top again for like more normal everyday wear, I would probably try to make that change, or at least like check the fabric that I'm using and make sure that the neckband is gonna sit nicely. So in this clip, I just styled it very casually with black leggings and a baseball cap and my sneakers. And again, I probably wouldn't wear this outside the house. I would just wear it to do a workout, but I just thought you would want to see what it looks like on. So the last top I have to share with you is a little bit of a bummer. I made the Friday Pattern Company Adrienne blouse out of a Pima cotton fabric that I got from Metro Textiles. I purchased 2 yards of this, and it's a really like electric red. It's almost kind of like a neon red color. It's a really interesting shade of red. So I purchased the Adrienne blouse last year on Black Friday, I think. Initially, I wasn't really drawn to the pattern, but after seeing so many versions out there on the interwebs, I got beaten down and I was like, I need to try this pattern, so I bought it. Now, this style of top has a really limited use in my life because I can only wear it really in the spring and probably early fall. Because of these giant statement sleeves, it's really hard to layer stuff over it like a cardigan or a jacket. And this wide open neckline would be too cold for me to wear in the winter. And probably I wouldn't wear it in the summer because the sleeve might be a little bit too hot. So yeah, there's just a really limited amount of time that I could even wear this shirt. So I wanted to get it made up now so that I could wear it for at least a few weeks before it gets too hot. So I made the size small based off of my body measurements. Now, I made quite a few Friday Pattern Company patterns, and I've pretty much had to size down on all of them because I just find that that company puts a lot of ease in their designs. However, looking at the finished garment measurements, they had negative ease, so I thought I would be okay just going with my normal size small, which corresponded to my body measurements. After finishing this top, I tried it on. The neckline sits flush against my back. I do think that my back is slightly broad, but my front, the neckline in the front wants to gap. It kind of wants to like pull together in the center. There's just too much room there. And if I pull it so that the top sits flush against my front, then the shoulders want to fall off. So I do think that there's a little bit too much fabric in the front. It needed to be a little bit narrower there. And additionally, when I wear the top untucked, it does have negative ease through the chest and the waist, but then the hips like really flare out in a weird way. I definitely think that the pattern block for this is much curvier than I am. So I can't wear the top untucked, which I probably wouldn't anyway, but it looks very odd the way that it is. And I know that I could go back in and take the seams closer in the hips, but I don't think I'm going to do that because I just don't really like this, and I don't think that I'm going to wear it. Now, when I made my misgivings about making this in the first place was because I wasn't sure I was going to like these big sleeves. I actually really quite like the sleeves. Oh, I forgot to mention, I shortened the sleeves 2 inches, and I really wish I had done 3 inches because I think it is an awkward length. It's actually kind of in between bracelet length and 3/4, and so I wish I would have shortened it another inch. But anyway, I think the sleeves are really pretty. I like the way that they look. I like the volume. What I don't like about this top is the neckline. I just think that for my shape, that really, really wide scooped neckline emphasizes how wide my upper body is, and I don't like the way that it looks. So because of that factor, plus the hip thing that's going on, I'm not sure I'm ever even gonna wear this. Maybe I'll try it once and see if I get along with it, if I like it better. But yeah, I'm just really not into this. So I'm glad that I made it, but I'm glad that I made it as a lesson that like, just because everyone else on the internet likes something doesn't mean that I have to like it. And I definitely don't think I'm gonna make another one. So that was my experience with this top, and I'm sorry if it's your favorite pattern or whatever, but it's not mine. Before we move on to dresses, if you're enjoying this video so far, I would really love it if you'd give me a thumbs up because it helps more people find my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Let's briefly talk about my Sew Over It Eve dress. As I said, I already did a full review on this dress and the top that I made, so go check that out if you haven't watched it already. This is made out of a rayon twill fabric that I got from Style Maker Fabrics, and I absolutely love it. The print is just so beautiful and has a really nice weight and drape to it. I made the size 8, and I did make some fit adjustments for this that I think make the dress fit me beautifully. And I did hack the sleeve to make it a little bit more of a voluminous sleeve, and it has a gathered elastic cuff. And I did the version with the high-low hem, and I did shorten the skirt so that it would sit on me the way that it sits on the model. In retrospect, I think that maybe I should play around with the length of the skirt next time, because I do think in the front it kind of comes very close to cutting me off at the widest part of my calves, which does not look good. So I think maybe I'd be better off with it just a little bit shorter or a little bit longer. I'm not quite sure which one. But for now, I think that the dress that I made looks really, really beautiful. I'm going to be wearing it to a anniversary celebration, and I think that I'll wear it a ton afterwards too. I think it's going to be a really wonderful dress to wear for summer. The second dress that I made in April is the Pattern Emporium Meet You There dress. This was a little bit of an adventure to get to where I was going with it. The Pattern Emporium patterns always have so many options, so I'm going to try to take you through what I did. So I made the size 8. I chose the low scoop neckline. I chose the short gathered sleeve, and then I did a mini length. So I think that there's like a super mini and a mini. I did the regular mini, and it has 2 tiers on it, and I did end up adding waist ties. The fabric that I used is a beautiful rayon challis that I got from Style Maker Fabrics. I love this fabric. It's so light and drapey, but it is quite sheer. When I wear the dress, I can definitely see my legs through the ruffles. So for that reason, I don't think that I will be wearing this to work, but certainly I'll wear it around the house, and on those super, super hot days, I think that it's going to be a really light and comfortable dress to wear. And because it is very printed, I don't think that it shows anything inappropriately. And of course I could wear a slip if I wanted to, but like, who wants to wear a slip? But yeah, I think that it's a beautiful fabric, but just be warned if you want to buy some that it is pretty sheer. Now the thing about this dress is the construction was really easy. I had made a blouse version of this before, and so I was familiar with the process. I really like the way that they have you do the bias binding on the neckline. It has a really beautiful, clean finish. The issue was that I finished the dress and I tried it on, and I just didn't like the way that it looks. For one thing, I think that for me, the bodice is slightly long. It actually does come like pretty much right to my waist level. But I think for this type of dress, kind of a baby doll style, I think for me, it might look a little bit more attractive if it were more of an empire line. I think that might have been part of what was throwing me off, because this is pretty much like a straight line. There's no shaping at all for the waist, and I just felt like it was just big and billowy, and it just didn't look good on me. So I was really bummed about that, and I was trying to think about ways that how I could improve the fit of the dress. I thought about maybe shortening it a little bit, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna put in waist ties and see how I feel about that. And then if I'm still unhappy, then maybe I'll think about shortening the tiers or whatever. So I had some leftover fabric. like some long skinny pieces. And so I went ahead and cut some waist ties. I didn't use the directions for cutting waist ties because I just wanted to use the scraps that I had on hand, but these are still plenty. I think the original pattern has the ties longer, but these are still plenty long enough for me to tie into a bow in the back. So I added the waist ties, and it's actually really funny because I don't even need to tie the ties super tightly. Like, I'm not cinching in my waist like as tight as I can. I just need to tie them so that it brings in my waist just a little bit, so that there's a little bit of shape there. And I feel like that makes all the difference in the world. I think that it looks so much better now. I think in the clip, I tried to show you guys what it looks like untied and then also with it tied. And I just think it looks so much better just bringing in the waist that tiny little bit. And I do think that I will eventually make this dress again. And when I do, in addition to shortening the bodice a little bit, I may actually just go ahead and scoop in the waist just a small amount to give me that shaping without waist ties. I don't know yet. I don't have firm plans or anything to make this dress right away. But yeah, I think that makes all the difference in the world. And I really love this dress now, and I'm super excited to wear it. I haven't been able to because it's been too cold. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really fun summer dress to wear. Moving on to bottoms. I made the paper cut Stella skirt to go with my top. I don't have a ton to say about this because it was just so easy. I used the same tie-dyed rayon fabric from Joann's, the denim fabric, and this skirt was mega simple to put together. I did size down. I made the size 1 when my body measurements would put me in a size 3 at the waist and a 2 at the hip, because these are just rectangles, and looking at the finished garment measurements, I knew that like it was gonna have plenty of ease. So I sized down to the 1 because I didn't want it to be too voluminous. So the skirt has 2 different lengths. I made the mini length, and I did shorten it 2 3/4 inches to bring it above the knee. And the skirt has inseam pockets, which is really nice. And it doesn't tell you to, but I went ahead and stitched down the elastic just so that it wouldn't shift, because I hate that. And I think I really like the way that it looks. I think it looks super nice. And I think that this skirt is actually really versatile because it is a denim color, even though it has the tie-dye. I think that I'm going to be able to wear it with a lot of different solid colored tops in my wardrobe. You will have already seen this in my Me Made May module video. And so you've seen some of the ways that I can wear it in addition to wearing it with the matching top. So I don't have any new clips of this, but you've already seen it in the other clips that I showed previously. And yeah, I really like the skirt. As much as I like the statement top, I think that I'm probably going to get more wear out of the skirt. But yeah, really looking forward to wearing this in the summer as well. Next up, we have the Itch to Stitch Mountain View jeans. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because my community tab voted and they want to see a full review of this pattern. So that is going to be coming up very soon. I used a stretch denim that I got from Joann's. It's a 97% cotton, 3% spandex, and it's a pretty nice quality. It's a fairly lightweight denim. And I made the size 0 at the waist and graded to a 2 at the hip. I did have to shorten the legs, I think 4-ish inches or so. And I kept the straight leg. And yeah, that's all I'm going to really say about this for now. You've already seen this worn in the clip with my McCalls shirt. And yeah, if you're interested in checking out that review, make sure that you subscribe so that you will be updated of when I post new videos. Next up, we have the Paper Theory Miller trousers. This is the 3rd time that I've made this pattern. I cut the size 8, and the fabric that I used was a leftover piece of crinkle cotton that I got in a needle sharp box. And I made a dress out of it last year, but I had enough left over to make these pants. So I am in desperate need of pants in my wardrobe. A lot of my pants don't fit anymore. I've been experiencing some weight fluctuations, and so I've really been wanting to add elastic waist pants to my wardrobe. And because I made this pattern a few times before, I decided it would be a good choice to do again. I did find in my other pairs that they're a little bit on the baggy side. So this time, before cutting it out, I shaved off a little bit off of the side seams in the hips to try to bring it in a little bit to be less baggy. But in retrospect, I think I should have done it even more because I do still find that these pants are baggier than I prefer. The other major issue that I have with these pants is that they're too sheer. Now, as I said, I already made a dress out of it, and as a dress, it's fine. It's not see-through. It's actually why I wanted to use this fabric to make pants in the first place, because I thought it was thick enough that it wouldn't be see-through. But when I tried them on, I could see I tucked in my top and I could see the top like through the pants, which was not a good sign. I think in the clips, you'll be able to see that the pockets, because there's like a triple layer of fabric for the pockets, you can clearly see the pockets through the pants, which I also think means that it's just too sheer. I did everything that I could in this clip to disguise how sheer the pants are. I wore like nude underwear, and I wore like a skin colored shirt that I tucked in so you wouldn't be able to see it through the pants. So I think that in the clip it looks okay, but for real life, I don't think that I can wear these pants outside the house. They are extremely comfortable, so I think I'm going to keep them and wear them as lounge pants because they are this nice light cotton. I think they're going to be really nice for chilling out around the house when it's warm out. But yeah, it's too bad because I really like white pants for spring and summer, and I really wanted to add a pair to my wardrobe, but I just think this isn't the one because I feel a little bit scandalous in them. So saving the best for last, I have my favorite piece of the whole month, and I finished it at the very end of April. So this is the paper cut tula pants. I had shown this pattern in my recent haul, and I used for fabric a linen from thefabricstore.com. This is the one in America, not the one in New Zealand. It's very confusing. This is their natural linen mix. So I believe it's natural linen woven with a bleached linen. So it has a little bit of a marled effect to it. And it's their medium weight. I think it's the 5.3 ounces. And this is the pre-softened. And I used about 2 yards for this pattern. So I actually intended for this to be kind of a wearable muslin. I do want to make the jogger version of the tula pants, but those are a little bit more fitted. So I decided to start with the wide leg version first, just to see what the fit was like. I made the size 2 because although in paper cut patterns, I'm in between sizes, I looked at the finished garment measurements, and after my experience with the Miller trousers, I really don't want my pants to be too baggy, even when they're elastic waist. So I sized down to a size 2. I shortened the legs by 3¼ inches to make them full length on me. And this time for fitting, I went back to my L-shaped ruler. I've talked about this a little bit before. It is exactly what it sounds like. It's an L-shaped ruler, and you mark on the ruler, like you measure yourself and you mark where your waistline is for the front and the back. And then on the L part here, you measure where your crotch level is for the front and the back. And then because you have this L shape, you can lay it down on your flat pattern and see on the pattern where your waistline and your crotch point is and compare that to the pattern to make adjustments. So I used that ruler, and I went ahead and took a little bit off of the center back rise because I found that that was too high. The front was fine, but the back was a little bit too high. So I shaved off, I think, around 1 inch or so off of that. And then this is a very normal adjustment for me. I always find that I need extra room at the inner thigh level because I have larger, more muscular thighs. So I ended up this time, instead of doing the slash and spread and sometimes it can get complicated, I decided to try just grading between sizes. So at the crotch point on the back pattern piece, I graded from the size 2, which is what I cut out, up to the size 4. And that ended up adding, I think, about 1.5 inches of extra space on the back piece. And on the front piece, I graded from a size 2 up to a size 3 at the crotch line. So that added an additional ½ inch. And because I added so much fabric at the inner thigh, and I need that fabric to cover my thighs. However, like the full circumference wise, it would be a little bit too baggy there. So I went ahead and shaved a little bit of fabric off the side seams to kind of keep it so that I had the proper amount of ease. And that worked beautifully. And I am not joking, you guys. This is literally the best fitting pair of pants that I have ever owned in my entire life. Like ready to wear stuff that I've made. I've never had a pair of pants that fits this well. They're amazing. This fabric too, like I've worked with this fabric before and it's just so beautiful. It has a nice weight to it. It's perfect for pants, but it has a beautiful drape. And I just love the way that it feels when you walk, and it's just a little bit swishy and it has that nice heaviness to it. And I just think that the pants look beautiful on. I am so thrilled with these. They were really fun to make too. So they have inseam pockets, but the method that they have you do for the pockets, it's really clever, and it anchors the pocket so that it's in the front, and it's also anchored into the waist seam. And I love these pants. So they do have you insert, they tell you to do buttonholes, but I just put grommets in, and they want you to put a drawstring like through the channel. But because I don't, like, it already has elastic in it, I don't need a functional drawstring. I just went ahead and made a fake drawstring. So I just took a little bit of twill tape and threaded it through these grommets and tied it into a bow. So my drawstring's not functional, but again, I don't need it to be. And yeah, so the construction was really neat. It was very, very simple and quick to put together. And I love the fit so much that I immediately went and cut out a second pair, and I haven't made those yet, so that will be coming up in my May makes. But yeah, I love these pants so much. I want to make more of these. I want to make more of the tapered version. I want to make the shorts. I'm just super, super thrilled with how this came out, and I'm actually really eager to try the same grading method on other patterns to see if that works for me as well. Because if it does, I just feel like it's like opened up this whole new world of possibility where I can make pants that actually fit me. So I'm so excited about this. I know that it may not look very exciting because it's a very basic style of pant, but I just love these so much, and I'm so thrilled to end on a positive note that I made myself the best fitting pants that I've ever owned. So if you enjoyed this video, I'm gonna go ahead and link to my March makes in case you wanna go back and see what I made last month. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next time.